So
Hello.
welcome everyone to our continuing education program. This is January. We've got several more programs coming up, including one this Sunday that I'm sure you'll want to watch, Instagram for Branches. And that's on Sunday at 2 o'clock. So we are hosting a very special group tonight. Ashland is the only branch in the state that has achieved the 5-star program. And it's pretty amazing. Now, many of us have heard of the 5-star program over the years, and some people sort of dismissed it like, well, I don't know what good that's going to do for me. But Catherine Lutes and Paula Wiiken are here to tell you what it has done for their branch and how they achieved it and why they're so happy that they did it. So Catherine and Paula, take it away.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Paula, and I'm going to start, Catherine. I'm going to actually introduce you.
All right.
Catherine became our co-president June 2020, right as we were finishing the 5-star process. So she's going to finish up the talk tonight with all of the things she's seen since she came on, how 5-star is helping our branch. So she's going to have some documents to show you. I'm going to actually walk through the process of how we did the 5 stars, what made us do it. And I'm going to do that by using a timeline. So Catherine, is there anything you wanted to say before I started?
I just wanted to say welcome to everybody and thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us. I'm really delighted to see so many familiar faces and lots of new faces. So thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Catherine. She's always the warm, fuzzy one. I have to say that. So I'm going to do a very brief explanation of the 5-star program. I'm thinking a lot of you know what it is, and Nancy promised me she'd put the link to the national program for 5 stars up in the chat. So if not, we'll figure out how to get there later. It's 5 stars. There's 5 areas of focus. I'm not going to talk about them all now. I'm going to do them as I do the timeline. I just want you to know what they are to start off with. So there is a programs focus. There is an advancement focus, which is primarily financial, and it was the one that really stymied us. We didn't know all of these things. Communications and external relations, pretty self-explanatory. Public policy and research, and the last one is governance and sustainability, which is another one we had to start from scratch on. So I will go through the timeline and get back to all of those 5 areas of focus. So our branch, AAUW Ashland, probably got the same email that all of you did sometime in the fall of 2019 from National, saying they're starting a 5-star program. You could do it as a state, you could do it as a branch. And so my then co-president Pam and I talked about it and said, let's bring it to our board. Let's see what they want to do. So we did that. We did that in October 2019. We all discussed it. We looked at those requirements in more detail, and our board said, let's go for this. Let's do it. There's a lot of things here we aren't doing. Let's see if we can. And so I can explain to you why we did it by what we told our members. The very next month, it was in our newsletter. And this is what we said in our newsletter. We said, quote, the board hopes that the 5-star program will encourage us to rise to new levels of excellence and build a stronger tie with AAUW National. And we really felt very, very strongly about that second part. We felt like we wanted to turn our face more to AAUW National, to the programs that are going on there. So that was a really strong impetus for our board. So remember, we're in October 2019, and we've just decided to do this. We started right away, we didn't go down the line on these focus areas. You can do them any order you want. We went right to public policy. And the reason we did that is because Ashland has a really strong public policy team. We have for years. Many members, very dedicated, lots of events. And we looked at the requirements, which are basically conduct an annual meeting with your US or state representative. Well, we do that every year, either at Lobby Day or we have Pam March or Jeff Golden come and speak to our branch. So that one was easy. And then have a chair, an active chair on your committee. Well, we already had that. And the third one we didn't have, which is put out the Action Network sign-up sheet at one of your meetings and have your members sign up. Well, our public policy committee just took that right on at that very next branch meeting. They got a sign up, and there we were at the end of October already with a 1st star to submit. So this was just too easy, right? Boy, this is easy. So we took it on in October and we submitted our 1st star at the end of October. So far, so good. Also going on that month, our communications chair, Ellen, looked over what we're supposed to do for communications. And it's basically all your existing websites and your social media have to have an economic security focus and an AAUW work start online, and you must post at least monthly on your social media. So we weren't doing all of that, but Ellen said right away, okay, let's do this. We're going to streamline our website. We're going to get these things on the website. We're going to make the ties to national and state stronger. So she jumped right in in doing that. But we didn't have anybody working on Facebook. We had a sort of a defunct Facebook account. It was there, but we didn't post, and it was a little embarrassing. We just ignored it. So that was a big glaring hole for the communications for us. So now we're into November, and sure enough, Ellen finds a member, Alice, who says, oh, I'll be your Facebook coordinator. We said, oh, great, that's wonderful. So, but it was a little daunting in the beginning. So Alice kind of hit the ground running and worked on it a while, and eventually began posting. And by spring, she was posting pretty regularly. She was reposting from state, reposting from national, posting our own events, posting on current events that had to do with our mission. So she got that part up and running really well. So now it's December, and we're thinking, well, what about our programs? We want to do the program star. What do we do about that? We are also lucky to have 2 program co-chairs, Janet and Kathleen, who are dynamite women. And they had already looked at all of the national requirements in the strategic plan, and they were already aligned to the national plan. So what the programs requires in 5 stars is you have to host 2 to 4 strategic plan related programs that are open to the public. So your programs at your branch have to be related to the national strategic plan. So I asked Kathleen and Janet, or Pam did, I don't remember which one of us, said, could you look at the programs you have scheduled and tell us, are we in compliance with this star? And they looked at them and they sent us back this list, which I was able to find, which sure enough, we had 4 programs, and they were, they had leadership, and they had economic security, and they had education and training. Title IX, we had a woman leader of a nonprofit. We had all kinds of great things, a financial event. So that was wonderful. Okay, I think we've got this. So we submitted the program star on December 12th. So now it's the end of 2019. We've got 2 stars submitted, and we hit our first real roadblock, which is nothing from national. When you submit on national's website, and remember, this is early on in the program, it says, we'll be back to you in about 2 weeks. Well, it's now the end of December, and we're going, no questions from national, no stars from national, nothing. So I have to say, I was a little, and we didn't really know who to talk to. That may have been our fault. I don't know, but now there's a real link set up. But so I was pretty disheartened by that, but I figured, well, we've got nothing to lose. Let's just keep going with this. So we did, and eureka, 2 months later, end of February, we got the public policy star. So it was quite a lag from the time that we submitted the end of October to the end of February. But we're a 1-star branch now. Georgia Applegate sends us a nice note. We get a nice note from national. We publish it in the newsletter, and we're publishing it on Facebook now. So we're feeling pretty good. And then we decide, well, let's get into some more things. And guess what's coming? The pandemic is coming. And we don't realize, of course, that the pandemic is coming, but all these things we were going to do in person, as you all know, have suddenly become virtual. So that changed things for us a little bit. We had to Zoom the rest of our 5-star program. So at this point, we decided we were going to go after the advancement star, which again, remember, it's kind of the financial star. I spoke with our fundraising chair, who's here. Hi, Bessie. And I spoke with membership, who was Catherine at the time. And there's 4 requirements under the advancement, and we weren't sure if we'd actually met any of them. So briefly, this is what they are. You have to be giving $30 per capita per member, raised for greatest needs in your branch. And we thought, well, that we're not there. You need to increase your greatest needs giving by 25%. Well, we didn't really even know what greatest needs was, and I'll talk about that in a second. You need to retain 90% of your membership and have your dues in by September 30th. And there was the bright spot. Catherine said, oh yeah, in 2019, we had very strong retention. So she said, yeah, we've retained 90% and we've got the dues in. So that was good. We had that one covered. And then the last one, this is very embarrassing, but the last one, I don't know if Claudia Gray is here. If she is, I'm so sorry. But the last one is the legacy circle, which I didn't know what it was. And it said, increase your legacy circle by 10%. So we had a discussion about it. Oh, Bessie and I remember this. And I finally called somebody at National and I said, do we have Legacy Circle members in Ashland? And she says, oh, no, you don't have any. So then we had to find out what it was. And of course, it is the National Plan Giving Program. It's a great program. You can leave money to National in your will, in your trust. You can name an IRA beneficiary for AAUW. But anyway, we didn't know that. So now we knew what we had to do to get the advancement. So a member stepped forward and joined the Legacy Circle. Bingo, you go from 0 to 1. That's more than 10%. So we were all set on the Legacy Circle. That was great. Catherine assured us we had the membership. And then we felt, we need to find out about this greatest needs. When our members donated, like probably a lot of yours, they love the Eleanor Roosevelt Fund, which is the greatest name ever. They like the Legal Advocacy Fund, but they weren't donating to greatest needs. So we did some research about it, found out what it was. And I think, Bessie, you wrote the article, but somebody wrote an article for our newsletter in February explaining to our members that Greatest Needs is unrestricted. So if you give to Greatest Needs at National, they can do what they need with the money. They can do salary negotiation programs. They can do research, but they're not restricted. So we explained all that to our members. Our members just jumped right on board. And sure enough, Catherine's going to explain that when she gets there. But we made some changes in the membership documents, and we've made a huge shift to giving to Greatest Needs at National now. So we felt pretty good about that. We had a huge learning curve on the Advancement Star. We just didn't really know much of that. So now it's March, and our former co-president, Pam, steps up to the plate and says, hey, I'll write a succession plan. We need a succession plan for the Governance Star. I'll write one. I'll go research nonprofits and I'll do this. So she did. She wrote us a lovely succession plan. So let's see what else, March. Yeah, and we also submitted the Advancement Star in March. So now we've got 1 star and we've got 2 more submitted. We've got 2 more stars to go. So in April, we heard from National. Yay, that was great. And we established a relationship with Nikia, who's, if you don't know her, she's great. She was wonderful. She was a huge help whenever we had a question. And she said to us, well, it's a nice succession plan, but it's not what we're looking for. It's too broad. We had submitted it. And did you think to look at this template? How about this? It talks about mentoring and leadership programs. And I said to Pam, hey, guess what? They don't like your succession plan. So she very graciously went back to the drawing board and looked at the template and did it all over again, which was lovely. And of course, it's much better. We can look at that at the end of this talk as well. And then Nikia also said, you submitted programs, but you forgot to tell us, are your programs open to the public? Well, oops, should have said that in the beginning, but we didn't. So we did explain to her, yes, they are. When we had Nataki Garrett as our guest speaker, we had a lot of guests at that meeting. It was lovely. And so we are open to the public. A little harder, as you all know, on Zoom. We're still working on that. We're going to have a meeting this month with our newly elected mayor. And we are going to open it up to the public and hope for no trolls. And so we're working really hard to keep our programs open to the public. So now it's May 2020. We're deep in the pandemic. And we get our 2nd star for advancement, which I felt was a huge plus because we started out not even knowing what it was. And now we've got the star for advancement. And behind the scenes, our communications team is working really hard. Alice is posting. Ellen has the website really streamlined and looking very nice and all under the requirements for that star. So now it's June. We're almost there. And June is traditionally our board retreat month. We get together, we have a nice potluck, we have a 4-hour meeting, everybody chit chats, we talk about all these important AAUW issues locally and nationally, but it's Zoom. And you all know what Zoom fatigue is. It's like you don't want to go beyond an hour and a half and you'd really rather only go an hour because you're just so tired at the end of a Zoom meeting. There's no way we're going to have a 4-hour board retreat and we still got to develop a strategic plan. So, we do some behind the scenes chit-chatting on the email, and I contacted I think of her as our strategic plan guru, Sandra, who is our parliamentarian, and she's really taken the ball on the strategic plan for years. And she said, let's do a committee. So we Zoom on the strategic plan, and we're looking at our old strategic plan, and we're looking at the national strategic plan, and the requirement is they're aligned. Well, our strategic plan looks nothing like the national plan. They couldn't be farther apart. So I'm sitting there scratching my head and I'm thinking, what do we do? And Sandra, who is the guru, says, let's throw our plan completely out. And I went, what? That's great. Okay, because that's kind of what we needed to do. And we did. We threw it out. And then we had one of the most energized meetings I've ever seen. This committee was going crazy with brainstorming, ideas all over the place. What do we want to do based on what National's doing? What do we want to do locally? And Catherine's going to show you that document in a few minutes. So that's what we did. And then we emailed behind the scenes. What about this? What about this? What about this? And then I am a spreadsheet geek. I love spreadsheets. So I spreadsheeted the strategic plan, and then I sent it to a committee, and we looked at it again, and the committee said, this is good. Let's do this. So we did do a board retreat. It was a very short version of our board retreat, and the board said, yes, the strategic plan is good. So then we submitted the strategic plan to National. So now we're still in May 2020. I'm gonna make sure I didn't forget anything. And we also submit our revised succession plan, which looks really different than the first one. So strategic plan, succession plan, those are both the governance requirements. And National said to us, well, and then we submitted communications too. And they said, well, you didn't post Work Smart, and that's part of the requirements. You got to post Work Smart on Facebook. So we did that, and then we got our stars, the rest of our stars, boom, boom, boom. So we got programs, and then we got governance, and then we got communications July 1st. So as you can see, our process was all over the place. We didn't go through in a straight line. We had a lot of people involved. It was really an interesting time. I learned a lot, and I'm going to turn it over to Catherine to show you some of the documents and her perspectives on this.
Hey guys, I learned a lot from that actually, because I was one of those naysayers. I was membership chair. I sat in on those meetings and thought, this is just boxes. I don't really get this. I really, truly did not get it. And yeah, we retained 90% of our membership. That was great. Okay. Okay, let's have a conversation about our new membership registration form. We've got all these different funds that people can donate to. Our form was so verb text heavy. We decided we were going to take all of those out, just put in greatest needs, because once we found out what greatest needs was, that it was unrestricted funds, and that's where public policy could do their work, we thought, okay, our metaphor is turning the boat slowly, and this is really where we can turn the boat. We want our funds to go to National. So all we have on there in our membership form is greatest needs, which is kind of exciting. It's how we funnel our money through now. That's not my most exciting part though. The thing that I love the most, and Nancy, if you would pop up the strategic plan, that would be a good thing for people to see. Our strategic plan was so all over the place. We worked so hard for every time we had a board retreat, we would talk about our strategic plan. We would look at our goals. We'd look at education. We didn't have all of these 5 departments, and we never looked at it again. Once we talked about our strategic plan, we never ever looked at it again. And so once we were able to align this, the first step didn't have this column on the right. It didn't have the when. We had the education and training, and we had the who, and that was great, and we thought about that. And then the second time around that we realized, okay, this is exactly what we want to do. We want to develop a nonpartisan strategy for electoral participation. Great. How do we know we've done that? So we added this when column, and you can see that we've got reports submitted for our lack of women on boards in Oregon. Wow, powerful stuff. You should see that on our website. And a lot of these are ongoing, so we don't really need to check them off because we know that they're happening. But our governance and sustainability, wow, have we made huge changes? I know Paula talked about Ellen and Alice. They have done an amazing job reviewing, revising, organizing. We got branch governing documents, and I'm going to show you. I'll show you I'll show you some stuff in a minute, but that's been one of the very biggest changes we have. We've modernized, we've integrated our communication structure. Our website is so much better than it was, and we still have a long way to go. Our member directory is now online. We have virtual meetings. We have a social media presence. It's not as big as we'd like, but we're getting there. So we're not going to check that off, but we have made huge changes. So Nancy, if you would show our job descriptions. This is just an example of a job description that we have for, it's under our governance. It's under who we are, and then our governance tab. This is just one job description. Our job description committee worked really hard. The goal was 1 page per job, so that once they're all figured out and posted, anybody who we ask to take that job or who is interested in that job can go onto the website and look at that job description. Look, we've got the qualifications, we've got all the responsibilities, we've got the overall responsibility, time required. It was a job, and they worked very hard, and they went back and forth and back and forth. And Paula manned that, or womaned that very, very well, but lots of people worked very hard on that. And so you can see that every single job that we have, either elected, non-elected, any job that we have, it has a job description that's up on the website. So anything you want to know about what jobs entail, we got it. So one more thing I'm going to go through is what's the next thing is that our organizational chart. And Nancy, if you would show that. Good. We ask for a liaison report for every board meeting, and we ask our membership chair to send us something in our programs and projects and communications and fundraising and public policy. We just ask, we want to know what's going on so that we can report it to the executive board at our board meetings. And for the longest time, people didn't really know who their committees were. You know, they just thought maybe they had to write the report, and they didn't ask anybody. But now it's very, very clear. I mean, it's in Technicolor. You can see who our executive board is. You can see who our appointed board members are, and you can see who works together. I mean, we're all in this together. So communications is just bunches of people. It's actually very few people, but it's bunches of different jobs. And our goal is to have one person for each of these different jobs. But we've got it very clear about who reports to whom, and that we're all in this together. Nobody has to take it on by themselves. Paula, you want to show the strategic plan, not the strategic plan. You want to show the succession report because you got that?
Yeah, Nancy's got it. She's going to flip it up.
Okay.
So I don't know if we can see both pages. I guess not. This is a 2-page document. This is the grid where it shows our current people and our future people. And then at the end, on the very far right column, you can see mentor needed. There's also, I don't know, Nancy, if you've got that other grid. If not, it doesn't matter. You can get it from our website, or we can send it to you. There's also a 1-page grid that talks about the, that one. Can we make that any bigger? Or is that not possible? Pretty hard to read that. Oh, thank you, ma'am. That's perfect. So this is the checklist for our nominating committee, and this was all just done. I'm glad you're running that. This was just done. We had a nominating committee go through the process of our nominations and try to get something really streamlined, because we're in the process of this now. We've got a chair, and I guess we've got a committee, right, Catherine? I think we've got a nominating committee.
We've got most of them.
So they're going to go through this process for the next few months. And so they've got a checklist here to use, and they've got the grid to use. And we're hoping this is the first year. So this came out of our governance work with a 5-star, but we hope this streamlines the process for everybody. We're going to find it out, but this is what we're going to start out with. And this came from what National's looking for us to do. They gave us a template that we adapted. So I think those are the documents we wanted to show you. And Catherine, do you mind if I add something?
I don't at all. Go for it.
We've got a few ongoing issues. One of the things that we realized, and again, this came from our strategic plan guru, Sandra, is that our strategic plan doesn't really incorporate DEI issues. And so that's something we're looking at. We have to look at how we're going to do that. Yeah, we can leave this document. Sorry, Nancy, it wasn't clear. So we don't really have any relations on this document to DEI, and we just have come out with, the Nationals just come out with this great report, which I'm going to read, I haven't yet. And so we want to get that into our strategic plan. And Catherine said this twice, but I'm going to repeat it. This is a living document for us. So that's why it's on a spreadsheet. We can change it easily, and we hope to have that DEI on there in the next couple of months. We don't know what it's going to be. We have to talk about it and come up with something that we feel is important that we want to do. And then we're also, we also need to revise our bylaws, which we haven't gotten to yet, also coming out of the governance. And we're working on operating manuals, again, one-page things that are very specific, what you do. Like if you're the dues treasurer, this is what I do, you know, all year long, or what I do in March or whatever. So you can just hand it to the next person. So anything else that came out of the process that you can think of, Catherine?
I don't know. I just think the strategic plan is great because it is this living document. I mean, the other one was just so amazingly useless.
Diversity, equity, inclusion. I saw those questions. Diversity, equity, inclusion. Sorry about that. Yeah, we really are relying on the strategic plan right now. It's been helping us stay focused. And if you could see what our old plan looked like, you wouldn't believe the difference. So I think that's all I've got to say.
I think that's all I've got to say, but if you have any questions, we're open to it.
All right. Wow. Wow. That's all I can say.
Sue Klumpf has a question. Unmute. Yeah.
I don't have a question. I have a statement for Ashland Branch. For those of you who don't know, Ashland has historically been the largest branch in the state. They've historically been the highest membership. Grants past my branch, we try to keep up with you guys, and it's a challenge with that. But you guys put on an incredible lobby day. It was absolutely phenomenal. That the Women on Boards work that you're doing is so commendable, and thank you from all of us for that. And I also want to thank Pam Shea for stepping up for South District Director. I'm so excited. Yeah, but you know, you guys are just incredible, and you know, for everything that you did for the 5-star, thank you. From, and I'm speaking, Pat Lehman doesn't know I'm speaking for, but I'm speaking for Pat and I both as presidents. You guys are stellar, and we so appreciate each and every one of you and the work that you do for us. So from my heart to yours, thank you. And I'll see you on the 23rd, by the way.
Yes, that whatever that date is on Sunday. Thank you so much, Sue. That's very sweet. Ashland works as a team, wouldn't you say, Catherine?
I would say, I'd say we're a really good team. Yeah, we've got a great group, as I said.
Sheila asks, how often do you measure progress versus your strategic plan?
I'd say we look at it at every board meeting. We do. We just, I mean, that's an ongoing board agenda item, and we look at it. And the ongoing, you know, we're gonna work on that, because there's a lot of ongoing stuff, but we might want to find a way to say what we've done in the ongoing.
Right. That's what that was going to be my follow-up question. Was strategic plans I've been responsible before we documented the specific things that we did for each element of the strategic plan. You know, maybe quarterly, maybe monthly, depending on how active an activity was. So it's especially easy to lose track of things that are just ongoing. So, you know, if like you said, so I was just curious. So you at least take a look at how you're doing every time you have a board meeting.
Yes, we do. And you're right. I mean, we do need to find a way to, it's just too easy to say ongoing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, for example, that first goal there under education and training, we have a new annual scholarship coordinator who is working on that goal A. And so I don't know, Catherine, you're going to run the next board meeting, but maybe we'll look at goal A and give it a check. I'm not sure. But yeah, monthly.
Yeah, I would definitely like to do more than ongoing. That's just too easy, and we do need to refine that.
Yeah,
So
and you can, it's pretty easy just to add columns off to the right of this table, right? Like Q1 2021, this is what we did against this particular goal. Q2, this is what we did. And then at the end of the year, I would always say, okay, these are like my big wins for the year. You know, these are things I'm really proud of or that really helped me get over the finish line for something. But it just plain keeps you accountable.
Mhm.
That's very good. Thank you. Thank you. That's good. And we will definitely talk about this at our next board meeting, which is in about 10 more days. That is good. I'd like to see lots more checks and red.
Yeah, this is a great example though. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jane Conger had the very first question right as you started about the 5-star program. Jean? She was going to give a little history.
Jean, you've got to unmute.
I muted when the train went by.
There we go.
I did too.
All right on the track.
And where are you from, Jean?
Ashland,
Okay.
Ashland Branch. I just wanted to mention Ashland Branch was a 5-star branch 5 or 6 times in a row. And this was back in 1998, 2000, 2004. And at that time, the president had to create this 5-star binder that was enormous. You're laughing because some of you will remember this. And we had pictures, every newsletter. I can't believe how thick this was and how heavy. And we had to mail it to National. So historically, we were a 5-star program, a branch. We had plaques in our history. We have 5-star badges they sent. And, but what you have achieved today is so much better and so thorough. It's just unbelievable how it's changed and transformed and progressed. Because in those days, we didn't have websites, social media, Facebook. We had a newsletter and we had meetings. So I am just totally impressed by what you have achieved because I know some of the background. Now, our history is on file at the Historical Society in Oregon. So if anyone's ever interested, you can go there and see this part of history. But thank you very much for what you have done for our branch. It's just amazing.
Do you still have the wall hanging that you put the stars on the wall hanging at conventions? Do you still have that in your historical file somewhere?
The stars are in the files, right. Alice Mallory, Alina Black, and myself spent a summer organizing all of the history, and we carried it down to, it's in Medford, at the Historic Society. So it's all there.
That's great.
But I mean, I just know how hard it is to do what you just explained. So thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Mary Pat Silvera has a question.
Where is that?
When I was looking at the strategic plan, I mean, it's beautiful and I would love to emulate your organization, but I was curious to what extent you actually changed the substance of your plan, or is it just the way that you have structured it or organized it? I mean, most of these things, honestly speaking, except for the wonderful report, which I have read that you did on women on boards, are things I thought, anyway, that most branches do in any case. So I'm just wondering what impact this actually had on what you do, as well as how you evaluate it.
That's a great question. Catherine, you want to take it or do you want me to take it?
I'm going to start it, Paula, and I'm going to let you finish it up because will you put that plan back up, Nancy, please? Because I don't have the old strategic plan in front of me. But
No, I don't have it either.
I'll tell you what we didn't have. We might have had fundraising. We might possibly have had advocate for education and equity issues. We didn't have anything explicit that talked about presenting branch programs that support the strategic plan. We certainly didn't have anything about economic security issues. The lack of the leadership and lack of women on boards, we certainly didn't have, but maybe the biggest change this governance and sustainability. The change to our governing documents has been profound, and to our communications. We just didn't have anything like that in our strategic plan. So having the template, the national template, helped tremendously. And it has pushed us along with the pandemic, because interestingly enough, the pandemic the technology has advanced so much because of the pandemic, because we're all using Zoom. We've always had our member directory is something that we print and pass out, right? We couldn't do that this year. I mean, there was no way to make that happen. So our directory is online, and it works for most people. It works really well at that. Virtual meetings, I got to say that's not as fun as getting to face to face with people. But our website, it has changed. It's done a 180, and our social media has done a 180. So we didn't have any of that in our strategic plan, and we certainly didn't have any kind of nonpartisan strategy to get out the vote. I don't even remember what we had, but there was very little of what's here that we had. And Paula, you can bring that on home.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I would say two things. We don't have our old strategic plan, and I guess in hindsight we should have, but it was very pie in the sky. It had lovely ideas, but we never seemed to reach them. And we'd come to the board retreat the next year and we'd go, well, we didn't do that. We didn't do that. And so it was a little bit frustrating for all of us, and we didn't quite know how to make it something that was realizable. I think this document is, although it will continue to change. And also it focuses us at the board meetings, especially if we concentrate on one particular item, like one of the more recent items, we talked about the Women on Boards report, which our Public Policy Committee did. And the board all knows about it now, and it got posted on our website. Some of you have read it. So it's keeping us focused, but it's very different than our original plan, which, really 180 is probably a good description. This is a realizable document. That was a lot of what we'd like to do, but we never got there.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Very good point. Joyce Zook from Salem has a question about the documents, specifically the succession plan template and the strategic plan. So I think those are on your website. Would they be accessible to all of us?
Absolutely. They're under who we are, and then you go down to governance, and they're all there.
Great. Does that help, Joyce?
You don't need a password or anything for that.
Mm-mm.
And I would like to know how many members your branch currently has. And I know you had 90% retention, which is awesome. And what percentage of those members are fairly active?
And that was in 2019, I'd like to caution, because we haven't had that in 2020, right, Catherine?
Right. In 2020, we have about 149 now, down from about 185. So we're definitely down and active. I don't even know how to talk about active in a virtual world.
Because some of our interest groups are meeting on Zoom. Some have tried to meet distanced in the park. So those people are active in the interest groups, the public policy people, about 14 people. It just depends on what you mean by active.
Right.
Well, I guess what I'm thinking of is fairly regularly attend branch meetings and other events. We have a lot of people that are active in particular interest groups that don't necessarily do a lot of other things. Right. And I think most branches are that way.
Mm-hmm. We do as well. I would say we have, okay, well, and Pam Shea writes, we had 45 at our holiday party.
We did, which was of course virtual.
Yeah.
That was Pam's baby. She planned that, and we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What do you think we have at branch meetings? Well, at our welcome back meeting in September, which Catherine and I worked so hard on, we had movies and things. We had 76, 5
or 6. Yeah,
that was pretty high though for us for the pandemic.
Right, and we haven't had that. So I'd say between 35 and 40, and 45 at our holiday party has been the highest so far.
Mm-hmm.
We are aiming.
Given the number of people that are allowed on Zoom, it's only 100 if you have the pro account. So you're doing good.
Yeah, I'd say so too.
We're aiming for 100 this month because we're having Julie Aikens, our mayor, our newly elected mayor, and we're publicizing it. So we're going to see. I mean, we'll go for 100 if we get 100. but we don't know whether we will or not.
How are you publicizing it?
Boy, Bessie, what did we say? Or Catherine, oh no, you weren't at that meeting. It was public policy.
I was. We're doing Facebook. We're doing the paper. We're doing the Mail Tribune. We're doing Ashland Tidings. We're doing.
Right.
I don't think we're doing Instagram. We don't do any. Instagram.
We don't do Instagram yet.
Well, you know what? If you want to do Instagram, come on Sunday to the Instagram, because the co-president of Bend has really been using Instagram to connect with other like-minded organizations in the Bend area. It's kind of amazing what she's done, and she's young, see, so she understands Instagram.
Yeah,
I have lots to learn about Instagram.
Right? Yeah.
So originally you were going to talk about how you feel like this program has transformed your branch. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. You've talked kind of as you went along, but it sounds like it made you much more focused. Could you comment on that?
Sure. It made me really understand the whole greatest needs fund and why it's important to give to that. I mean, once I realized that that's where all the heavy lifting for us at the national level happens, there are still people in our branch. In fact, there are lots of people in our branch who go, wait a minute. They get a huge percentage of our dues. What's the deal? Why do we have to give more to? So people don't understand that. So, a big part of what we talk about is why it's important to give to greatest needs, because that's where the public policy is happening. That's where the lobbying is happening. That's where the heavy lifting is happening. I'd say for me, that's the biggest change in the refocusing through this 5-star plan. That for me is the most important thing. Paula?
Yeah, I think I talked about that all the way through my discussion. I mean, I think the governance requirements have transformed our documents so that we now, have new nominating committee procedures, and these job descriptions we just recruited 3 new people for different things, and we could say to them, and here's your job description, which was like really different for us. And the operating manual is the same thing. When they take on the job, we can say, well, these are the specifics, not the generalities, but this is actually what you're going to be doing. So I think the governance thing has been huge. I think to piggyback on what Catherine said, and I need to be diplomatic how I say this, but our branch is amazing at raising money locally. We have the most amazing endowment and scholarship campaigns. They blow me away. We aren't so good with our dedication to national fundraising, and we didn't really know that until we started to go through the 5-star process. So we still need to look to national to get all of these great research projects done that they do. And so we need to focus a little more on that. And I think we learned that through this process, that we need to be upping our giving to national. And I don't know quite how we're going to accomplish that, but that became clear.
Why? And the why. Why?
And the why. Yeah.
Anybody else have any other questions? This is an amazing presentation, and I can't wait to go on and look at some of your documents.
Well, I want to show actually the governance page on their website. I have it pulled up if I can find it. Even here, there's bylaws, job descriptions, org chart, strategic plan, succession plan, and their publication policy, their style sheet, their national style guidelines. I mean, and it's very easy to access. Let's see.
Thank you, Ellen.
Yeah, she's done a great job.
And I love the one-pagers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Well, we had some wonderful job descriptions already that we worked off of, but they were long.
Yes.
So that you had to give somebody 3 pages, and we wanted to streamline that.
We had 40 pages of job descriptions.
Yeah.
And sometimes job descriptions are wish lists. So these look succinct and believable. Doable.
So yeah, well,
Yeah.
they're real. They are real.
So your succession plan is text, and
Right.
people might want to see that gorgeous chart. So if it's all right with you, how could we do that? I like to post some of the documents when I post the YouTube video. what I might do is take your succession plan and take people's names out of it.
Yeah, that would be important on that grid. I wouldn't want that up on the.
Yeah,
on-
and then would it be okay if I made it available to folks?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Do you, Catherine?
I don't either, as long as you take people's names out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea is that people can take these documents and build on them for their own branches. I mean, that would be what we'd like.
Yes.
Great.
Don't recreate that wheel.
Oh, please.
Yeah, right. Absolutely not.
Any other questions?
I don't have a question. I just have an additional comment that I hope everyone has a chance, excuse me, to read the Women on Boards research document that you produced. I began reading that document thinking, so what is the big deal here? I just don't really get it. I don't understand. And by the time I was finished, I felt, yes, we have to do this. This is so important. You covered all the bases. You answered every question I could imagine asking, and you backed it up with, with evidence. And it was just it was a turnaround for me in my understanding of the importance of women on boards. So I hope that everybody, it's not a quick read, but I hope that everyone will take the time to go through it, because I think it will be just life-changing in some ways for people. So thank you so much for doing that.
Would you tell me where that is, please?
I think it's on the public policy tab. I don't have my.
Thank you.
So,
Kudos to your public policy group. Oh my gosh.
That's who did it. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was on the strategic plan, and they went and did it. And if you're not following that issue in the news, the NASDAQ, the exchange, has required this. Germany's got a new law. Norway was first. This is a movement that's going around the world. We need women. Yeah, there it is right there. Final women on board.
And it's a major focus for Oregon public policy. So perfect timing.
Eye-opener.
Yep.
Yeah.
Quite an eye-opener.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question.
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
I can't see who that is, so go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for doing all this work and organization. So I just mostly I think it's a clarification, because I was the AAUW funds director for 5 years, and I'm proud to say that during that time we went from rock bottom up to, third from the top or something, because it was always embarrassing being the largest branch and being rock bottom with what we were giving AAUW funds. So I felt very proud of that. Now, when we did that, so Greatest Needs, I think, is taking the place of AAUW funds. Is that correct?
AAUW funds is still the term that is being used. The Greatest Needs Fund is the fund they're requesting the money go to directly as much as possible.
As part of AAUW funds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's how I understand it, unless somebody else has a different understanding.
Yeah, well, we would do that as well, although they could designate Eleanor, Roosevelt, or fund or whatever within that. Now, are we still giving then the named gift honoree awards?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I think that was always going to be more difficult this year, probably, but yeah, that was so important just to recognize certain individuals and that they really did a lot for the branch that particular year and what they did. Okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else? Remember, all of these sessions, and this is like Nancy, I think number 15 for continuing education, all of these are recorded and they are on YouTube. Nancy, it takes her, she's doing a lot of work on this. It takes her a little bit of time to get it edited and then posted. But if you have friends that couldn't make this session, it will be up on YouTube shortly, as all the others are. So we do encourage you to go this Sunday, the 17th, to learn something about Instagram. Nancy's last name is Brown. On Instagram, and I think I'm looking forward to this because I don't know much about Instagram. Then on the 19th, we have changed the date. We originally had a program session scheduled for the 20th, but it is the day of the presidential inauguration. So we made the decision to change the session. So it will now be Tuesday, January 19th at 7 o'clock. And it's about mission-related programs for your branch. And there'll be 3 of us talking about it. Linda Liebecker from Hillsborough Forest Grove, and Linda Lofton from Portland, and myself as the state program chair. And then the last one of the month is Thursday, January 28th at 7 o'clock. And this is the continuation of Trish Garner's wonderful anti-racism program. She's had great attendance at all of them. They're very thought-provoking and interesting. And that one on the 28th is Faye Stetz Waters, who's the Civil Rights Director of the Oregon Office of the Attorney General. And she's going to talk about what Oregon is doing and what we can do to help. So I think for the good of the order, thank you very much, Paula and Catherine, and your entire branch and your board. You have a huge board, so I think that helps. But anyway, thank you so much. Really interesting, and I think very inspiring. So kudos.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
I am just amazed. And when I got the documents, I just want to say, when I got the documents that they wanted me to put up on the screen, I was like, oh my gosh, these people know what they're doing. So
and it seemed like a bit of a full-time job for a few of you.
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, it paid off. So thank you so much. We're proud of you.
Thank
Great
you.
job. And thank you for sharing with us and all of the documents and your names in case anybody needs to contact you. Ha 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 ha.
We're happy to be contacted. We hope to be joined by another 5-star branch.
Excellent. All right. No other questions? We'll call it a night. Thank you all. And thank you, Catherine and Paula, and your whole branch. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.
Thanks all. Good night.
Good night.